Okay, so I'll try to make this relatively short and sweet just for a quick preview over the banners. I just want to say that if you are a newer player, even a veteran, this is a very, very good banner if you wish to get either of the characters. So, firstly, let's go with the 4 stars. Let's do the 5 stars actually. So, first one, Nahida. So if you want to ever dabble into Dendro reactions, or if you want to improve your Dendro teams, Nahida is most likely the option for you. Very easy to build. I won't go over the build guides, but you can obviously do some research on that. But Nahida is a great character. I would recommend on any account if you want to use Dendro. If you don't use Dendro, then you probably won't care about Nahida. But if you do, I would highly recommend her. So yeah, amazing character. I'd say she's a must pull for most accounts, but yeah. And Hu Tao, she is still a good DPS nowadays. She's one of an older character. With obviously the release of other DPSs over time, to where people say that she's fallen behind. But if you do enjoy her at all, I'd say you can give her a try. So, as for Hu Tao, I'd say do her test run a few times and see if you enjoy her playstyle or not, and if you need to improve your damage on your account. Yeah, Hu Tao is a pretty good option. I would recommend her. I enjoy using her, and yeah. So, quick and sweet about the 5 stars here, right? So 4 stars. So Sethos, Sethos is a little DPS who can do either normal or charge attacks. He is a 4-star DPS who is decent. So if you will have fun playing him, I would say, if you do like Sethos. There's nothing wrong with it. Honestly, this team right here on Nahida's banner is a Sethos team, so if you want to toy around with that, so it's good. So nothing crazy on Sethos, but I just want to briefly say that he is a usable unit who, yeah, he's not like crazy, but you can have fun with him. So yeah. But now we're going to the spicy options. So Xingqiu. Xingqiu is one of the best, if not the best, 4-star characters in the entire game, whose pretty much all of his constellations are very beneficial. I'd say you could go for C2 is probably his best one for early investment. C6 is obviously the best, but C2 for an extra duration on his ultimate is great. So yeah, brief thing. Xingqiu synergizes so well with the vaporized teams, even freeze teams, hyper blooms, other stuff like with Taser and all that stuff. So like Xingqiu, I highly recommend building him if you already have him, or if you're gonna get him now, right? So yeah, that Xingqiu, amazing. And Kuki. So yeah, Kuki is an amazing character if you want to dabble with Hyperbloom. And if you do dabble with Hyperbloom, you will learn how powerful it is. So pretty much full elemental mastery on Kuki and you're set. Just make sure she's level 90 because Dendro really likes levels on characters. So if you are going to play these characters, I recommend getting Nahida, Sethos, and Kuki to 90. Xingqiu can stay at 80 unless you want to get 90. I'm not against that. So yeah, Kuki, Hyperblooms do 30,000 or more on I'd say minimum if you have her at level 90 with like at least 900 elemental mastery with a 4-piece set, either the flower set or the Gilded Dreams. So you will be shredding most content in the game, if not all of it with it, as long as it's not like Dendro resistant and stuff. So this is a very, very good banner. All right. So yeah. And weapon banner. So firstly, Nahida's weapon, it's very good on her. It's good on some other characters too, but it's not entirely like crazy or eternally like universal. So it's not a huge loss not having it. You can get like a sacrificial fragments on Nahida instead, and you'll do just fine. So there's no issue about not having Nahida's weapon, but if you do want to get Nahida's weapon, go ahead. As for Staff of Homa, this is probably one of the best and universal spears in the entire game for 5 stars. So if you have any like 5-star DPS, you will most likely benefit off of having Staff of Homa on that character. So if you do get Staff of Homa and you don't have Hu Tao, or if you want to toy around with other characters, Staff of Homa is still an amazing weapon that I would highly recommend if you are dabbling into weapon banners. If not, you are not losing much by not having the weapons, because weapon banners are not needed. You can go buy with 4 stars or standard 5 stars or just all this stuff. So yeah. So as for the 4 stars on the actual, like, you know, weapon banner, Favonius Bow, I believe that's the free bow you get like at AR-20 or something, but getting more copies or at least refinements is very good, because Favonius can be used on many supportive characters that can help. Like, lots of players undervalue how good Favonius weapons are, so I would highly recommend dabbling to it, because energy recharge is, I'd say, an underrated stat, because once you do it, it's hard to go back from, like, you know, having consistent bursts and stuff. So like, okay, you lose damage by having this weapon on, but if you are not bursting every rotation, if you want to burst every rotation, it just feels super smooth and good. And yeah, it's like, I always like having a nice fluid team where you're not having issues. So highly recommend that if you do get that. So Lion's Roar is okay. It's good on a few characters, don't get me wrong, but it's not as crazy as the other weapons, so I'll just make that brief. Dragon's Bane, or yeah, I believe that's what it's called, the spear. It is decent. It's good if you with high refinements like R3+, you can use it on Hu Tao if you don't have Homa and other options. It is a pretty good option. And if you want to go full elemental mastery on like Homa, and if you want to do Raiden too, if you want to do like a EM Raiden Shogun, it is good for Hyper Bloom and Virgins because it's the EM main stat. So there's that. The freaking Emerald Orb or whatever it's called, that thing's bad. So if you get that, I feel bad for you. So that's a bad option. As for Fruitful Hook, the new weapon, I will acquire a tab for you guys to see in a second. Okay, so this is the Fruitful Hook. Hopefully this isn't... It is technically a leak site, but I believe the stats are out in public, hopefully, so... So, at first glance, you may be... Oh, okay, let's try to, like, dumb it down or make it easier to understand. So, this is a plunging type weapon. I'd say mostly. So, say if you R5 it, you got yourself a high base attack for a 4-star, attack percentage, crit rate, and damage percent on your plunges. So if I were to compare this to, sorry that was loud, Serpent Spine, you get 27 crit rate with less attack, if I'm correct. Yeah, less attack. So you get more attack on the new weapon, you get more crit rate if it's R5. So no, if it's R5, but if you end up getting the R5, then you hit the jackpot. And you get like 50% damage percent at R5 of this weapon. But if you have a Serpent Spine at R1, then this thing's automatically better, I'd say, kind of. And if you're a free-to-play, you won't have this weapon. But if you're a free-to-play who rolls this weapon, say you get R3, you still get like 24% crit rate on your plunges and damage percent. So if you get Marechaussee Hunter, like say you use Gaming or Diluc, let's say Diluc, and you use Marechaussee Hunter and Diluc, and you pair it with like Farina, you get 36% crit rate, along with 24%, along with whatever Diluc's Ascension stat is, and you're pretty much set on crit rate, if you want that. And then you could just maximize crit damage. So that's the benefit of this weapon. I feel like this one is actually quite valuable. Even at R1, I'd say. It's a nice stat stick for plungers, and if you don't have any other great options, so... Yeah. This weapon's pretty good if you end up getting it and getting some refinements. Diluc and Gaming, and maybe other options too, but primarily those two, I'd say, will benefit the most from this weapon. So, yeah. I suppose I should also mention, so if you don't have the characters, then you can roll for the characters. But if you want like constellations on the 5 stars, I will say that C1 Nahida is okay. But C2 Nahida, if you are planning to get this, then you will have a good time. Like, it's a pretty good damage increase. So, if you do want, yeah, like Nahida and stuff, with constellations, you can go ahead. The rest of the constellations are okay, unless you want to commit for C6. But otherwise, yeah, you can just rock C2, and you're just fine. As for you know. As for Hu Tao, C1 is pretty much the go-to that many players go for. To where whenever she charge attacks, she does not consume stamina, so that's pretty much why a lot of people don't like her, because you probably maybe like charge attack spam and you lose all your stamina, and this pretty much gets rid of that issue. Her C2 is pretty bad. I'd say it's not that good, and this one's whatever. C6 is cool, honestly. I don't really like it because it's just like it's weird to work around, but yeah. If you just want to have a nice solid Hu Tao, you can get C0. C1 is a good addition. But like C0 Hu Tao, if you ever use her at like Shen Yun, then you could plunge and get AoE without worrying about stamina. So yeah, like Hu Tao is still a good unit. So I'd say if you want to get C1, go ahead. But otherwise, the constellations are pretty good. Like C2 Nahida is like really good, but do you need it? No, because I don't have it. Because yeah. So anyways, yeah, that's pretty much the constellation regards on the characters. So yeah, but yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say. Just a quick little banner review. Ended up being 10 minutes long, which is okay. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe and drop a comment and tell me what character you're planning to get, either the weapon banner or constellations or anything, or just let me know if you're saving for future characters. So yeah, anyways, peace.